It's time now for us to take a look at and discuss some DevOps related tools. Now, if you are brand new to this area and you're not going to know any of these, 7 to 8 or 9 tools that we are going to be presenting to you here, flashcards could definitely be a great idea. Yeah, so get prepared to potentially make some flashcards in this area so you can match the tool to the tool's job. Let's get started with a very popular tool. I love this tool. I've got some courses on this up at LinkedIn Learning. It is Ansible. And Ansible is this beautiful open source automation tool for, any number of IT tasks. You see, Ansible works with these modules that different vendors can help the Ansible community create. And so Ansible ends up doing automation across a whole bunch of different systems and equipment. You can be managing your Linux systems, your Cisco routers, your Windows boxes. Ansible just starts managing everything for you. And one of the really neat things about it is agentless. So we don't need to go to all of those devices that we want to manage with Ansible and install any kind of special software. The big requirement is that the device can be accessed via SSH. Yeah, Ansible functions over SSH. So that's the big requirement. Since everything under the sun these days supports SSH, that's clearly not a problem. Notice it uses YAML-based playbooks to do the automation, and YAML is a competing data representation format to something like a JSON. So YAML's very easy to learn and work with. Docker is another very, very popular tool you should know. This is how you can make those containers. That's right. Docker is a platform for taking applications and packaging them up into very efficient little containers. This is an evolution that goes beyond virtual machines. Yeah, this is an improvement, these containers in the virtual machine kind of strategy. Notice that containers are going to contain the necessary components to run the application across many different types of environments. Containers have taken the virtualization world by storm, as I'm sure you're aware. There's an ELK Stack. Yeah, what an interesting thing. This has nothing to do with the four-legged mammal that is an elk in, I think, very cold parts of the world. But anyways, it stands for Elasticsearch, Logstash, and Kibana. Yeah, these tools can be used together in order to search and analyze and visualize log data in real time. Someone like a Splunk would say, you don't need any of that, just sign up for Splunk. So Splunk would definitely be a competing product here. Notice what is beautiful about something like this is getting centralized logging, getting all these devices that might be spread out all over your infrastructure, getting them all logging to one centralized place where we can analyze and visualize the data in real time. There's Git. Yeah, Git does distributed version control for us. And we've had videos that have discussed it, like the branching and merging capabilities that are going to make it possible for a whole bunch of different developers to all contribute to code without, stepping on each other's work and accidentally losing work and things of that nature. There's GitHub Actions, which bring our continuous integration and continuous deployment features directly into our GitHub repositories. These actions will be driven by certain events that are occurring. So obviously our DevOps people love Git. They love GitHub typically, and GitHub Actions allow them the automation features that they need while they are developing software. There's also Grafana. Grafana is an open source analytics and interactive visualization web application. It can take data from various sources like Prometheus and Elasticsearch, and it can make it so that you can easily make sense of that data thanks to the great visualizations that Grafana can produce for you. Then there's Jenkins. This is open source automation server software for building, testing, and deploying your code. As you might guess, since Jenkins is for our developers, it's going to integrate with many of the tools that we have discussed, like Git and Docker. We didn't mention Kubernetes, so it's time to mention it now. Yeah, Kubernetes is a wonderful open source container orchestration platform. So you know those wonderful containers that we have for virtualizing our applications? Kubernetes can manage those containers. Yeah, it can make sure they're deploying and scaling properly. This is the magic behind microservice orchestration, where we have these tiny little microservices implemented as tiny little containers, and Kubernetes can make sure these microservices are running properly and are scaling properly up and down as demand changes. Kubernetes does have its competitors. For instance, Docker Swarm is from the Docker organization, and Docker Swarm tries to do what Kubernetes does. If you look at some of your cloud providers, they'll have container systems to try and kind of compete with Kubernetes. And finally, we have Terraform. Terraform is talking about Terra, which means like the earth, right? It's forming the earth. This is our infrastructure as code tool. Yeah, this is how we can quickly go to someone like AWS or Azure or Google Cloud Platform, and we can immediately automate the creation of the networking that we need, the security that we need, the virtual machines or containers that we need. Yeah, you name it. Terraform can automate this infrastructure that we need inside the cloud. It's really remarkable how efficiently and effectively Terraform could create entire complex infrastructures for us. So a whole bunch of DevOps related tools. As I said, if you're brand new to this, you might want to consider flashcards. Thank you so much for watching.